it okay for me to ask God to prove that he is real to me? Is it okay to say, could you prove to me that you're real? Could you somehow do something in my life to prove that you're real? I mean, if you're real, I'd like to believe in you, but I got all this doubt. I mean, there's so many religions, and I don't know what to believe, and everybody's telling me this and this and that. Is it okay to ask God to prove that he is real? And my answer is, of course. Of course it's okay. That's what a relationship with God is all about. And when I gave my life to Jesus and he healed me from drug addiction and all those things, gave me new life, healed my body, set me on the path, if you will, of the good life, the new life. Well, how many times do you think God had to show his presence over and over and over again for me not to lose track of what I was doing? Because there's a lot of distractions out there, especially if you're a young man. So the Lord showed up all the time. That's what's so cool about prayer. Prayer is just simply talking with God and not always asking for stuff, but just sharing. Lord, I'm having a real hard time with this. I got my feelings hurt and this and that and this and that. It's all of those things. And in the midst of all of that, we read in the scripture, we read, we study. We see that God's job is taking care of us. I mean, that's his main job, is taking care of us, taking care of his children. If you're a parent and you have some three-year-old, what's your main job? Well, taking care of that three-year-old. Your job at work, that you make money, is to ensure that the three-year-old has food and clothing, good medical care. Whole life revolves around that child. And we are God's children. And so God's job is taking care of us. So of course it's okay. And then once God shows you that God is real, guess what? Now you gotta do what God says, see? And of course, what God says is always leads to the best life possible. When I read the words of Jesus, if I do them, then I'm going to be blessed. If I read the words of Jesus and I refuse to do them, then I'm not going to be blessed. That's bad. Blessing good, not being blessed bad. So, of course it's okay. And how would you do that, right? What would it take for you to believe that God is real, that Jesus is real, that the story is real, that the Bible is true? What would it take? What would it take in your life? What would God do? Yeah. So God doesn't jump through our hoops, but God shows you in ways that are just indisputable. And I've got a pile of those testimonies. God shows up every week for me and all the time. Every day God shows up with me now. And so if you're wondering, I want to believe it. And that's the way I was at one time. Boy, wouldn't it be great if this message was true? Wouldn't it be great if the whole thing about Jesus was true? I had doubts like that. But the Lord convinced me through a powerful miracle that he's real. Now, some people have said to me, well, Pastor, I didn't have the dramatic conversion story like you did. All that stuff that happened to you, you were like this, you were dead, you came back alive, all that. That's not me. I mean, I accepted Jesus as a child or as a young person, and I don't really think I've even never seen an answer to prayer. If you or someone had asked me, how can you prove God is real? I don't even know what I'd say to them. Well, let me just point this out. There are many ways that God has met you over time that you just maybe weren't paying attention. If you think about times when you were financially in trouble, or when a family member was sick or injured, and you said that little prayer, or you didn't even know how to pray, so you prayed the Lord's Prayer. And in some way, looking back on it now, you can see how, wow, I think God was there. God worked out this. I didn't lose my job. I even got a raise. And at the time, I was so mixed up with my own thing, I didn't realize that God had shown himself, that God had heard my little prayer, that he had proved he's there, but I wasn't paying attention, and I didn't see it for what it was. So my suggestion to you is, if you're wondering, is it okay to ask God to prove he's real? I would say, of course. And God probably has already done that. If you think back on your life, all the coincidences, I don't believe in coincidences at all. I don't believe in coincidences. I believe the hand of God shows up because he loves you. And you are his child. And his job is to take care of you. And he does it in ways that we never really acknowledge or know about. But if I just sit down long enough and I start writing down all my blessings, all of a sudden I can see how the hand of God has been with me the entire time. So that would be my suggestion to you. I'd be excited to hear what you have to say. So if that happens to you, write it below in the comments. And if you appreciate this time together, as always, like and subscribe. See you later.